to the Boise State Esports Arena as we get ready to watch the first match of the PEC season for Super Smash Bros. That we will be streaming. Now, this team has been working hard, but we haven't seen those matches yet, so this will be our first look at the Rocket League team, the Super Smash Bros. Team going forward into this season. As you can tell, I've been casting Rocket League recently. My name is Audrey Norris with Bryce Jensen, calling all the action as we get ready to see Boise State versus Syracuse in the Power Esports Conference.
Yeah, this will be the first game that we're going to be able to get to see out of Boise State, but I don't think that's going to diminish the value at all. They're currently standing 1-1 in their record currently, and I feel like that's a good omen for things to come. A few team swap-ups have occurred and taken place over the offseason, which I believe were for the best. It allowed the team to kind of switch things up, and Boise State's Smash Bros. Program is still very much growing. So we might be able to see a little bit more evolution of the things that we saw at the beginning and end of the last semester.
Yeah, speaking of that, going into it a little bit more, you know, this was your first semester casting, like getting into that world, and you got to cast a lot of Smash Bros. For the Boise State team. With that, is there anything like reflecting on that past semester that you would be especially excited to see? Characters, like moves, or just like different matchups that would be fun? Or just like something you're excited to see from the team just overall?
You know, the big word that comes to mind when I think of what they could have done a little bit better is adaptation. A lot of the time we'd see teams go up in series a ton, and no one could really find a way around it. They tended to struggle a lot with people who had similar play styles to them, and just a breakup of the formula is always a good thing, especially in fighting games where people already kind of know what you're going to do, especially if it's a mirror matchup or matchups where both characters play a little bit similarly. So having that ability to change up your strategy as well as kind of throw off your opponent, it'll mean that you just have a lot more in your back pocket for later.
Great advice to always have some adaptability, and in addition to that, there is always the keys to the game, which in Super Smash Bros. Is to punish openings, roll to dodge, win in neutral, and remember to taunt. Super Smash Bros. Is, as much as a fighting game, a strategy game, and so making sure you get your timings down and pay attention to what your teammates and opposing players are doing is always essential to be able to continue forward in the lineups and matchups, especially considering we will be going into, you know, larger, more stamina battles for Super Smash Bros. This is not one-on-ones where points go down. This is a full-out brawl where it is the last man standing. How many stocks can you keep, or will your entire team be eliminated in this, you know, just lineup that we have?
Yeah, it's a lot different than the average Smash Bros. Game sitting on your couch with 4 guys each going at it 1v1v1. This is a crew battle where instead of everybody plays one-on-one individually to get the win. It's the first team to reach 12 consecutive knockouts, or 12 knockouts in general, which will knock out all 4 players on the opposing team. And I feel like that's where it comes in a lot. A lot of the strategy for this game comes in, because the winner of the round doesn't get to change characters. They don't get to change they don't get to change who they're playing. They just have to keep going into whatever their opponent selects to do. And from the looks of things, we have the list of all the players who will get the pleasure to watch tonight.
Yeah, as we can see, you know, for the Boise State team, as we have seen in the past, we've got Supersonic on Olimar, the Doc on Palutena, Mata, new member to the team from the previous season, on Pikachu, and Leodog on King DDD.
And on the side of Syracuse, we have Gerbine on Yoshi, Sarvi on Luigi, Milsharks on Donkey Kong, and Zami on Zelda.
And I mean, I'm not particularly surprised about that Zelda being on the team. As we were talking about a little bit earlier, when you're looking at all the potential lineups and player preferences, you know, we've seen that this player, from what we've learned, also plays Pac-Man. But when you're playing online,
you're not going to play Pac-Man.
If Zelda is your other character, are you really playing anything but Zelda?
That is true. I mean, Zelda has a lot of inner kit that works really well with the lag spikes that are fairly frequent in Nintendo Online. I hope with the Nintendo Switch 2 they're going to fix that, though. But they've also been promising a fix for 7-ish years?
Maybe that's their fix.
Maybe?
They're like, hey, we fixed it. New Switch. It's like, we have the perfect solution to your problem. New hardware. Here you go.
Yeah. But honestly, back to the Zelda pick, you have so many good moves that attack for longer periods of time, have less windup, and have less end lag. But with that being said, I believe I saw the DDD, and I did. We're going DDD against Luigi, Sarvi, and
Leodog.
I believe that's Leodog.
Yes, I don't know who else would be playing King DDD for Boise State, as we are already into the brawl. Leodog taking some damage from Luigi's fireballs here, trying to gain control of the middle, using the hammer and the Gordos to create some space. Just need to be careful of any of Luigi's nasty combos.
Yeah, Luigi has a really good air game, almost as good as Mario's, but he has a lot more options when put on the ground. DDD wants to be able to set up with those combos with that Gordo and just get a lot of damage stacked up really fast, and so far both of them around the same. Luigi leading in, but with a grab into the Gordo, that's going to allow for quite a bit of damage.
Rocket Hammer.
Evening things up, and now Luigi doesn't have a really good on, but he just waits it out. DDD getting pretty far, getting pretty high up there.
Leodog trying to go for the shield, just wasn't able to get through, but now going to launch him off the side, able to block his dash, but isn't able to go for the full ledge punishment, having to back off away. However, Leodog is able to hold him at the ledge, but the Gordo is going to reflect onto him instead of his opponent. 122 to 97. DDD being a heavy character, not hurting quite just yet, but Luigi could break through here with a good combo.
Yeah, Luigi just has so much stuff to block the Gordo. You have the fireball, which doesn't have pretty high priority, but
the
it doesn't
hammer!
matter. The hammer
Who
time
needs a
comes
Gordo
out.
when you have the
Yeah.
hammer to finish off the job? And at 128%, Leodog holding strong here, taking the first stock.
I mean, they say a lot of good things about hammer time, and DDD definitely insinuates the fact. Here, DDD is at a little bit more dangerous of a situation. He is at 140, but as a heavy, he can stand to take a little bit of punishment, but not the up B from Luigi. That's an insta-kill past 100%, but with the down spike, it's not even going to matter. He gets stuck, but he's going to, he gets the recovery. Luigi unable to take it down another stock. That was looking dangerous.
Yeah, great reads there from Leodog, able to hold on, and at low percentages here, 2-1. Great spot to be here. Luigi trying to look for his openings, but is going to get denied, stuck on the ledge here with DDD. Pretty favorable position for Boise State right now. They just have to hold on and deny any opportunity for Luigi to gain the upper hand here.
Yeah, he managed to get the recovery, if only just barely. That Gordo did miss his side B, but getting into the combos Luigi's known for. DDD gaining over 80% in one volley from Luigi, bringing it back up to even percent-wise, but Luigi still has a stock to make up. And with 2 shots from the Gordo, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult.
Able to get the recovery here, but still on the ledge with DDD going to launch the hammer. 140% onto Luigi. This is a knockout zone. We see he's looking for that opportunity. The shield's going to go out. Luigi pressing his advantage, and once again, going to get the knockout, bringing it 1-1. But incredibly precarious position means Leodog is able to knock him out, taking the first win for Boise State with a 1-stock lead.
Yeah, Luigi's up special gimmick is definitely not something to count out, even if he is behind. That insta-kill at 99%, I believe it's either 99 or 100%. I can't remember which one. But either way, it deals a ton of damage if both players make direct contact, and it is nothing to sneeze at, especially if you are above that 100. Even being a heavy won't save you.
Yeah, though it did seem to come down to King DDD be able to hold on for Boise State so far. I mean, I do think it is really funny that Luigi is kind of that character. You know, you like to joke within the Mario lore and just like the lore of those Nintendo games, like Luigi's the scaredy cat, you know, he's not as strong as Mario, but then you come into Smash Bros. And he is the guy that if you let him hit you too many times, you're gone.
I don't understand why people think that Mario is the #1 brother. I mean, Luigi, he's just way better. I mean, he's got more solo games. He's got his own franchise. He's got the high jump in a lot of games.
I love Haunted Mansion so much.
I love Luigi's
I played
Mansion
it so much as a kid. It was so good.
You know, underrated Luigi's Mansion game was the one for the Nintendo Land spin-off. It was like you use your Miis instead of like Luigi.
That's actually really fun. That's a cool concept. I never played it, but I can see how that would be fun.
I mean, unfortunately, it was for the Wii U, so I bet that many people fall into that same category.
Yeah, I only had a Wii.
I had a Wii U. Personally, I think it's overhated by the masses. It wasn't that bad, but here we go. into round 2. DDD still has one stock, and if he takes one on the pink Yoshi,
it's a good spot to be.
It's a pretty good spot to be, yeah.
However, it is going to be a challenge. Yoshi is a pain in the butt as a character, and we can already see that here with the amount of damage that has been racked up just by the tiny little fists and kick combos that Yoshi can deliver. However, Leodog rolling around, able to get the grab and knock Yoshi off the ledge. Now they just need to hold them here if possible, but it might not be feasible. As this Yoshi knows what they're doing, going to launch them into the air. This could be an opportunity. Gets the Gordo out to create space, shields to avoid any massive damage, but is going to have to back off a little bit here. This is a battle of who can get the most damage as fast as possible, and so far DDD is holding on, but Yoshi is not going to let them run away with it.
Yeah, both players are at around the same percentage time, but Pink Yoshi has a little bit to waste.
Oh,
he almost gets out of the blast zone, but is barely able to DI back in. DDD needs to find something here, but with 130%, Yoshi is not looking too great. DDD trying to control the high ground, but there goes the back air. Doesn't quite find anything, but now at 150.
Oh,
the Gordo comes out of nowhere with the uppercut, taking Yoshi out and keeping the lead in Boise's favor. Grab comes out, and it looks like DDD is going to be able to hold on to a little bit of a, not quite a lead, but is able to get a little bit started with maybe another stock. You never know.
I mean, it could always happen, but Yoshi is not going to let it. You caster curse that one. But regardless, Boise State is able to get a really solid lead going for themselves. Still one stock, but a great precedent to set going forward for them. Though we'll have to see how the rest of the team will be able to hold up against the lineup of Syracuse. Now that they've lost their heavy, they do have to contend with Zelda and Donkey Kong, who can both also rack up a lot of damage. Honestly, looking at Syracuse's team, Zelda, Luigi, Yoshi, that's just a massive spam damage into your face, like so quickly you can't really comprehend. Donkey Kong, not as much of that character, but he still hurts.
He can pick people up and throw them off the map.
He also can launch people into the ground, and then you just get to question your life choices for a little bit as that occurs. But with that, it is going to be an interesting lineup for them to deal with and contend with, because those are characters that their whole thing is just going from 0 to 80 in less than a second. Though I do see what looks like a swap up from the team here. Goki's on Joker might be the current lineup pick, which, Joker being the character that he is with Arsene is never a bad idea when you can rack up that damage. We'll have to see how Boise State chooses to use it, if that will be the next player up.
I mean, Joker pretty much turns into a heavy when he does have Arsene up in everything but weight. He hits like a truck. He can block just about anything. He gains a reflect instead of basically the Arsene charge meter. And honestly, he just becomes this powerhouse that you can't really deal with until it's over. So you kind of just have to
you have to run away. But that's also really rough for a Joker player, because if you are able to avoid them and not get hit by any of their abilities while they're in Arsene, they essentially have been crippled at that point and now have to wait for Arsene to come back. And that's really hard to pull off, considering it, part of it is charge-wise is damage-based. And so if you already took a decent amount of damage to get to the first Arsene, getting to the second one before your stock is out is really rough.
Yeah, and you'd think he would be a little bit better even without Arsene, because he's the only character in this game to have an actual gun. But going into round 3, the Broncos do have an advantage, but we can't quite count out the Orange Men. This round is going to be Yoshi at 2 stocks and Joker at 3.
Yeah, jumping into it, Yoshi will have to reset, giving Joker some room to work with here. Goki's preparing, both taunting and making sure their controllers are ready to go for this brawl, as we're going to jump right into it. Yoshi trying to get close and personal, but Joker is not going to let it, having some good melee as well. Both of them have to be careful here. Yoshi piling up the damage, definitely wanting to gain the advantage before Arsene can become active. And Yoshi, so far, is able to pull that off, getting some combos off. Arsene is active, however, though it is Boise State's time to gain the momentum.
Yeah, it's their time, but at 117%, Joker is not looking too great, and he gets stomped on by Yoshi. That's not going to feel too great now, is it? Yoshi is only at 13 and manages to get the first stock on Joker with Arsene out. That's not quite where you want to be as Joker.
No, but able to gain some more Arsene charge quickly here. Could see Arsene come back out, get a revenge moment here as we see 47 to 25%. Yoshi hasn't gone up in damage much. Arsene is out. There is potential, but Yoshi zoning out with their ranged abilities here, able to set up for another knockout. 1-2 now.
Yeah, Yoshi is just getting way too up close and personal for anyone really to deal with. It's really hard with Yoshi. He hits like a truck, a lot harder than what you would expect him to, especially in some previous iterations of the series. But at the same time, Joker can also hit super hard, but he relies on that smaller chip damage to get up to Arsene and sort of goad out a lot of the big attacks. Yoshi now almost creeping up to his first 100%, but Joker still has a pretty large hill to climb if he wants to take this one and keep the lead for Boise. The Orangemen, though, are looking to regain some lost ground here. Arsene does come back out, but Yoshi quick to engage, already up to 80, and not a single hit has been landed by Arsene yet. Can he find a way in?
Oh, gets the grab. This could be good momentum, but Boise State might not be able to capitalize on it with Arsene. Yoshi is looking low, but it could be the knockout point right here. Yoshi is looking for, but Boise State is able to dodge around, getting back to the stage.
Ooh,
and a great read there, able to bring Yoshi down 1-1. Although it's looking rough for Joker here, this is a good spot to be, at least preventing any stock runaways here with Syracuse. Arsene is active, 127 on the ledge.
Ooh,
this might be it, and with the back air, Syracuse will be able to gain the lead for the first time in this matchup.
Yeah, but like you were saying earlier, one stock lead, it isn't a ton, it's not quite a runaway, but it is definitely the spot you want to be. It gives you a little bit of insurance, and it helps out your next player a little bit too, knowing that they don't have to get a whole bunch of stocks in order to make up a deficit. But at the same time, we're currently sitting at 7-6 in favor of the Orangemen, and honestly, what do you think that we need to see out of Boise State here? Yoshi got right up in Joker's face, and it just was, and they didn't let them really do anything. Do you think that's what we need to see a little bit more out of Syracuse and what Boise needs to expect, or do you think something else is sort of holding them back?
I think the hard part is just, if I remember correctly, we've seen this Yoshi in the Power Esports Conference before, and they are just a very familiar with their kit and their abilities, and that makes this Yoshi kind of a menace. But also just with the matchups, I think both of these characters have potential, but it's still going to be hard because one of the things that Yoshi was able to do effectively is that because Joker can't take a lot of punishment, it's really easy to rack up damage, and Pikachu and Olimar are very similar. So the biggest thing is not getting comboed, because those combos will be the knockout points for players.
Yeah, like glass cannons almost.
Yeah, I mean,
deal a ton of damage, but the second you get put in a
Olimar,
combo,
I think
over.
It's less that Olimar is a glass cannon, and more that I think that the issue for Olimar is that the type of zoning and range that Olimar has isn't going to work very well against Yoshi, because Yoshi is so mobile as well. Olimar is good at that, but you really, as an Olimar, it's really nice when the characters aren't able to dodge around them as much, and you have to try and contest with that speed. And having, that's just generally not something you like. And in this case, Pikachu, or it looks like Dr. Doom actually going to be bringing in Palutena, which I do think would be the more favorable matchup for Boise State here. Bringing in a Palutena means zoning capability that doesn't require the movement and chucking, but just the straight up bullet in the direction.
Keep this dinosaur as far away from me as possible. I do not want him to touch me.
Yeah, slam him in the face with the shield, keep him away. So I think that with the new matchup that we're seeing here, which will probably be Palutena versus Yoshi, I can see this being probably the best solution that Boise State has with the characters they have left. And I think this Yoshi player will want to play more carefully against Palutena. As we get ready to jump into this match, this will be a big determiner for Boise State. They could be brought down to their last character or be able to push the momentum back to their direction to continue to hold on to this lead. Yoshi will have to reset down to one stock, so really Boise State's goal is don't lose any stocks, or at least only lose one, to be able to continue forward.
Yeah, as long as they take out the Yoshi without too much damage, it should still be a very good spot for them to be in. Palutena has a lot of pressure out of shield, and with Yoshi having that egg shield, which is a little bit unique in the sense of Super Smash Bros. Shields, it'll be monumental to have that ability to deal a ton of damage as soon as they exit. Palutena getting an initial lead, and Yoshi tries to counter, but nothing quite happens out of it. Palutena just punishing the retake onto the stage from Yoshi.
Oh, there we go.
Just not letting him on.
Oh, there we go.
Out goes the fireball.
This is what I was talking about. 106 to 25. Boise State holding a very strong lead, not letting Yoshi gain the control that he wants of the matchup. He's looking for the opportunity here, but with the grab going to be launched upwards, giving Boise State the room they need. He is within knockout range on the ledge here.
The tables have turned for Syracuse and this Yoshi.
And
he was the one doing all the damage, but now he's the one getting taken out. Palutena manages to even out the score 6-6.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking about, that was really what they wanted out of that matchup. And with this, Syracuse and Boise State are now tied up to continue to go forward. And I also think that Palutena will be a much more stable base for them going into these next two characters, both Zelda and Donkey Kong. I mean, Zelda is Zelda, but with the way that Palutena is as a character, really good spot for Boise State to be.
Yeah, if the position on here sort of mimics how they want to play, it looks like Zelda is going to be at the back as the anchor. And Zelda, correct me if I'm wrong though, has a few different reflecting moves, which might be a little bit harder for Palutena to play against. But if they're going to play Donkey Kong, it's going to be a little bit harder to play against the fireballs, the magic missiles. And since they lock on from such a fairly long ways away, Donkey Kong essentially is going to have a lot less time to punish misplays, which is what he does. He gets really close and he smacks you around a little bit, says, nope, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that either way, this is a strong position for them to be in. And I mean, either of these characters could do very well against Palutena. And as I was wondering if this was going to happen, it looks like it will not be the DK going up against Palutena, but in fact, Min Min, which does change things up quite a bit. Min Min, you know, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, you know, flashy and fun to watch on screen, but the strategy isn't very complex. When you have a reach that essentially spans the entire stage, your goal is just to launch it.
Punch in their general direction.
Punch in their general direction. When they get close, jump up, use your swinging move. I'm forgetting, but you know.
Yeah, I believe it's their neutral air that spins it.
Yeah, but it like swings in all around you. You have good grabs. You have good recovery. I love arms. Like, I love arms, but Min Min in Smash Bros. Is definitely an interesting character.
Yeah. One of the best ways to show off the Nintendo Switch's capabilities. It was like a Wii boxing. But
I know, it was so
underrated
cool.
game.
It was underrated. Also, the music.
I personally never owned ARMS, but I had a friend who did, and that's how I played it a lot. And that was super fun. It reminded me of the good old days of Wii Sports.
Yeah.
And boxing, and getting really mad at your siblings because that should not hit.
All right, as we get ready to get into it, with both having 3 stocks, the battle is outright. Min Min having, you know, the capability to match a lot of the ranged projectiles with essentially a ranged projectile of their own with their arms. However, Palutena, keeping the distance, is able to hold on and keep the damage percentage in their favor.
Yeah, let's not forget that Dragon Arm on the Min Min, too, does have a little bit of a projectile itself. Oh, but damage just stacks. Palutena taking an early lead and just not giving this Min Min an inch to work with. The stage pick I am a little bit surprised about, having a platform. As Min Min, you really want those flat stages like Final Destination. It really limits your opponent's movement, and having that platform is going to be a little bit more difficult to land consistent blows, but I say that, and there goes 2 big damage hits out of Min Min, unable to find a third, but still nearly evening things out, but the back air does come out, and Min Min is off the stage.
Yeah, with Min Min off stage, they aren't able to recover. A wild thing to see for a Min Min, but great for Boise State. Now up a stock, they just have to hold on and be careful here. Min Min gaining some ground in the middle. Palutena does not want to let that happen for long. Dr. Doom looking for their opportunity. 79 to 37 here. The grab is going to be a devastating spot to be in, as Min Min now is going to be watching ledge. Palutena carefully looking for their opportunity, able to kind of really doesn't have to do a lot to get up onto that ledge there, but now at the standstill point, it will kind of be a dangerous spot at 111%. Min holding on, able to deny the recovery there, but Palutena able to get up and recover not too long afterwards.
Yeah, the ability to bend your arms, or Min's arms, to say the least, an incredibly strong ability, and it's just keeping Palutena off the ground and not letting her set up. Currently at 156%. I'm surprised Palutena's managed to stay on this long, and there we go. Min finally finds her first stock at 37-0.
Yeah, Palutena not able to make as much progress in the damage numbers here. Syracuse starting to gain a foothold on this stage. Though, of course, as soon as I say that, Palutena goes back to the middle and is able to launch them off. But Min is not going to let go down without a fight here, with both trying to find their opportunity and foothold. The battle staying fairly close, but there might be an opportunity here. Shield able to block off some of the damage. Min holding near ledge, looking for a potential punish, but it's not going to go through. Boise State holding strong to the middle here.
Yeah, those boomerang arms are just doing so much work for the Min, but it's not enough to keep them on the stage. Knocked off, Palutena unable to ledge guard, but once again thrown off. Min unable to find the recovery, and Boise manages to get up an extra stock here. 88% on the Palutena, Min with a fresh stock of their own, and they managed to find it off stage. We are back at an even ball game, 1-1, 0-0. This will basically mean whoever goes into the final character is at a pretty big disadvantage.
Yeah, as we see here, this is going to be a rough spot. Boise State wanting to try and keep it in their favor, just going for an onslaught onto this Min here. Holding at ledge, Min is able to jump over, and Palutena has to go to the ledge to recover, but not quite at a disadvantage yet. Able to jump over and knock them back off the side into the air, exactly where you really want to keep a Min so they don't have a stable base, but they're able to get back onto the stage here and near those central platforms. Palutena trying to teleport away. Not going to work out immediately here, so they need to look for their opportunity to gain the advantage once again.
Big damage.
Going back to ledge, the ledge battle is strong, as that has been how Palutena has knocked out Min consistently here, but now at 110%, able to capitalize on the higher aerial attack that launched Min up, knocking them out, meaning Boise State will be going into the advantage for this final character for Syracuse. Boise State at 4 stocks, and Syracuse at 3.
Now, the question is, who do you decide to counterpick? Do you decide to counterpick the Palutena and hope that whoever Boise plays next isn't a counter to your counter? Or do you take the risk and play someone that may not be as good into Palutena, knowing they only have 1 stock, and then risk going into the next 3 with a disadvantage?
I mean, the last player we see is a Zelda. I doubt they're actually changing. Just saying.
Maybe.
I mean, when you're down to the last player, right? Like, it depends on like your skill level and how many characters you play. From what we know, they play Pac-Man.
Well, but he's good. He's the Pac-Man. He is that guy.
I have a thing against Pac-Man because that's my brother's preferred character, and when we play with ultimates on, it is the most infuriating thing to deal with, as I am not good enough with my aerial recovery to avoid Pac-Man. But, I mean, I doubt they're going to swap. They've already done a couple, like they've done a mix-up with the Min, but I really doubt there's going to be much of a swap here, because at the end of the day, Zelda is a very strong character, and going into both Olimar and Palutena, it's not unreasonable. The main thing is just how quickly can they defeat Palutena, if they can defeat Dr. Doom before they, lose any stocks, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the big determiner, is how many stocks you have going into the final fight.
Yeah, that if word is incredibly important when talking about Smash Bros. Because you could do this, but the if is a really big portion, because
we could talk all we want
guaranteed
about Olimar versus Zelda, how that could go, those matchups, but that's not the matchup that's about to occur. It is Palutena versus not Zelda. Is that
Mii Brawler? I don't think I've seen a single. I think when I did I did the pre-show for Boise State Super Smash Bros. And I remember putting Mii Brawler at the bottom tiers. So seeing him as the throwback is not something you see every day. But I guess it's a first for the both of us.
It's a choice. We'll see how it goes.
It is definitely a choice, but for the most part, it seems to be working. An early bit of damage from the Mii Brawler. I don't quite know how Palutena is going to play around this, or how the Mii Brawler is going to play.
I mean, definitely an issue of Mii Brawler is really solid in melee, and we do see that here. Palutena not able to land any damage on yet, as he is just racking up percentage onto Palutena, and already at 62%, 92, nope, 101, 0%, able to knock out the Palutena.
Wow. Talk about a trump card. Like, okay, so before this...
You just called Mii Brawler a trump card.
Well, what would you call it? It's not on the sheet
know.
we were given.
Something that...
We've never seen it before.
Remains to be
zero
seen.
To deaths.
Remains to be
Palutena.
seen. One stock. That was one stock.
It is one stock.
One stock
but
ranged character versus melee
anything.
character.
Well, I mean, they're going into Olimar. He's also a ranged character.
He does have the benefit of the Pikmin, though, and if you have the right Pikmin, you can do a good job in the melee. We'll have to see. I don't know. I mean...
We've seen weirder things happen. Like, we've seen the Mii Brawler come out.
But that's what we're watching right now. We haven't seen weirder things. This is the weird thing. This is the thing you and I were not expecting to occur in the first of this best of threes was a Mii Brawler. Oh.
We were talking about how Zelda was the best pick for online because of like low latency like attack moves that don't really rely on it. And then he picked Mii Brawler, who has some of the longest wind-up specials and just overall attack moves out of all of them. And then you zero to death a Palutena. That's crazy.
I suppose, yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, one stock. It was one stock, so...
It's one stock, but like...
Down to the wire, one
somewhat
stock.
Proved the point. I'm just saying.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm reserving my, judgment on that one until we see how this goes. But it does look like it's not going to be Olimar, but in fact Richter going into this Mii Brawler, which...
Probably the right play.
I would agree.
Yeah, you have so much range. You have so much zoning out options with Richter. The whip, while not as long as Min Min's primary, it is an incredibly long primary attack. A lot longer than a lot of the others in the game. Plus, you also have your Holy Water, which can deal a ton of damage up close. You have the Axes for a little bit of ranged pressure. And then, of course, you have the Cross, which is like a boomerang on steroids. And it can be incredibly good when used
already using that, just some of the powerful attacks to prevent Mii Brawler from really reacting here. Using shield to avoid, but the grab is going to go through, and Mii Brawler tries to go for a combo, but misses most of it, and Richter is able to get some damage off. However, as we were talking about earlier, powerful kick there is not going to be easy to deal with, but those combos are not easy for Syracuse either here. Getting caught in the ledge guard and knocked out relatively quickly into this matchup here.
That is the strength of Richter. If you can position yourself right,
wow,
it is impossible to escape from that Holy Water. And it deals so much damage. Up special out of it too, and you are already finding yourself in a very bad situation. Richter not even taking 50%, and Syracuse is already on the back foot at 84 and only 2 stocks remaining. Holy Water comes out, preventing a capitalization from the Mii Brawler and just getting hit by every projectile in the arsenal. The only one I don't think we've seen is the Axe. Oh, never mind. There it is.
I think, wow, great timing there, Bryce.
I mean, if I'm good at one thing, it's comedic timing, whether it be for the good or for the worse. I mean, we might just see another one there, but no axe. But from the looks of things,
I mean, with Mii Brawler on the kind of the end, down to the wire here, going to lose the stock to recovery failure here. And Richter, who is yet to lose his stock, still holding fairly strong at 91%.
Yeah, 91% or not and counting, because Mii Brawler has not been able to find a pretty good hit on him in a while. None of the projectiles are working. He is able to get a side neutral off, but he's just not able to really get through all the projectiles being thrown. Holy Water and crosses go out. Nothing really connecting for big damage except for that last one out of Brawler.
Tries to go for the grab, but gets
Another one.
launched off of ledge. You'll have to be careful here. Brawler looking for the advantage. Uses the shield to avoid it, able to get the fire out. Brawler going up in percentages again. We've seen this story before, and so has Brawler, able to avoid the attack and get back to center stage. Now with the shields out, both of them looking for their opportunity, not wanting to get caught in a potential combo. This could be the end of the third stock for Richter if he's not careful, but for Brawler, it could be the end of everything. The stakes are high here for this first end of game potential as Richter launches Brawler into the air, looking for a potential knockout to capitalize on. The cross goes out and the grab, able to throw him to ledge. This could be it here. Brawler goes for the ledge recovery, but the fire is going to stall him out, able to dodge roll through it. Now, evened up in the percentages. This is a dangerous spot. Oh, grab from Brawler could be a knockout, but he's able to avoid it. Using the cannonballs to try and get some range. He's going to get red by Boise State. And with that, Boise State able to take the first game in this best of 3. With the finale being a Richter versus a Brawler.
Yeah, and that was Mata, too. That is the new addition to the Boise State roster, showing us a little bit of his mettle and what he is capable of. And honestly, I'm pretty excited to see where he goes for the rest of not only the series, but the rest of the semester as well. If it's anything like we saw out of Richter, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, you know, I like seeing the Richter. Like we were talking about, you know, Richter isn't a, I haven't seen a lot of Richter be played during a lot of these lineups. So getting to see a character that hasn't just really shown up that much all is kind of a great, refreshing take, especially for the first match. I think that paired with Brawler is very amusing to me. I was thinking in that matchup. Okay, well, I was thinking in that matchup there.
Honest.
Yeah, well, because my first thought was like, it's game 1 we're streaming, first game we're watching, and what do we get? Brawler. I'm like, I feel like if that isn't a setup for this season, I don't know what else could be.
What I find the most amusing, though, outside of it being Brawler, is that it's like one of the guests. It's not even like a custom me or like a costume.
Right, it's the generic one.
It's just generic Brawler.
You could have done like any
I think that was
of
also
the costumes.
generic moveset, too, for Brawler.
I think so.
Yeah, because he had the... Actually, no. It was a different side special because he had the shot put. We didn't see a down B at all. We didn't see a down special at all, so we don't know if it was a counter or not. The up B or the up special was the same rising uppercut. And then also...
the cannonball, right? Yeah.
Or, yeah, that was the shot put.
Yeah.
But the side special normally for Brawler is a command grab. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have it this time around, so... It makes you wonder, was this planned?
Yeah, he used burning dropkick instead.
Yeah. I'm not super versatile on all of the Miis because we haven't seen them until now. We don't really ever
see them, right? Yeah.
I mean, even on the sheet we were given, it wasn't even in the realm of possibilities for Zami. Like he has Zelda, he's got Pac-Man, he's got Palutena, he's got Game & Watch, but
I don't think that was Zami though. Too. That was the thing. That was a completely different player than what we were expecting. So for that, Syracuse, although they aren't able to take the first point, shows that they have some interesting characters in the backline to display, and we'll have to see if that ends up being the edge they need going into this next matchup with Gokis versus Min here. Yeah. Olimar versus Min. A very interesting matchup, actually, with the fact that the Pikmin will be very easily countered by the arms, but the arms will not be able to move past the Pikmin. So the balance of characters and just the projectiles begins once more.
Yeah, just with Olimar, especially in a matchup like this where your Pikmin are constantly dying, that just means so many projectiles getting thrown out on the screen. Already purple? At the double purple. We might see a triple purple here.
Oh, good damage there.
Out of the aerial, and Min's not able to get up. There we go. Olimar taking an early lead without even reaching 50.
And a great spot for Gokis, who has been, like previous seasons, put in some really rough matchups, able to get that lead for the team so far is a good spot to be, though. Will they be able to continue it? Going back to the ledge recovery here, throwing out the Pikmin, trying to get set up as best as possible here. not taking on too much more damage just yet, but Min with a onslaught of arms is going to be very hard to break through unless you can gain your footing back once again.
Especially with that sneaky secondary attack out of the dragon arm, out of Min, having that almost projectile, but not quite. It's like an extension of the arm. It means that even if it hits a Pikmin, there's still a chance it hits maybe another, or even Olimar himself if he's not careful. But from the looks of things, no one's really been able to find anything, but there we go with the down neutral out of Min, able to push Olimar off the stage once again, preventing him from getting to the stage, getting some more Pikmin to work with. And he is just kind of trying to hang on for dear life here, but he's finally able to get a few more to work with. I feel like Olimar gets put in first a lot of time out of Boise State. He's kind of their lead character, and sometimes it works, I'll give him that, but sometimes you go up against Min and you just can't really get a good footing.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, for the amount of damage he has taken as Olimar is wild. And the fact that he's been holding on with that damage percentage, getting this opportunity.
I just need to shut up. I need to stop talking because, wow, he did go down, but that was a 40% exchange.
And that's a really impressive moment there for Olimar, and we can continue to see just that. As we get ready to go, 89-93 percentage onto the Min. Ooh, launching them into the air. This looks like a good opportunity. And with blue Pikmin on deck here, really good spot for those aerial attacks. And they know it. Min does not want to let them get near. And now they just have to be careful. Min could get knocked out here. Olimar in a pretty safe spot, but not wanting to take too much more damage. Using their control of the center to their best of their ability.
Yeah, he's just been staying in that center, but Min is quick to take it back. Those arms reach are definitely nothing to scoff at here. Olimar also doesn't have his purple Pikmin either, so which means he's not going to deal as much melee damage as what he'd like, but now he's being caught on that ledge there, not really able to do much. But at the same time, we've seen him come back from a lot worse. He was in Min's shoes just the last stock he was in, and he was still able to find one. So I have pretty high hopes he's going to be able to find something here. Min is able to find the stock, though.
1-2 now. Olimar on the back foot in this matchup, but Min is not looking any better on this stock here. Boise State just needs to find their opportunity to get a knockout before they take on too much damage, but Min really wants to have nothing to do with it. Dodging one of those more powerful Olimar attacks at 160, holding on. Olimar looking for the opportunity, gaining a couple more Pikmin for the entourage here. Having both the purple and the blue at his disposal. He gets launched into the air and by ledge. They're going to have to be careful with the exchange, but Olimar is able to dodge it. Goki's looking for another opportunity, using his shield to block as best as he can as his purple Pikmin goes down to the Min laser.
Thing is, he's getting a lot of chip damage in, but nothing really to close it out. Those 2 damage at a time Pikmin aren't really going to close out the match, but at the same time, they're going to get Min into a spot where they're essentially even more of a glass cannon than they already were. Although Olimar up to 121, and Min is going to close it out with 2 stocks remaining. That is a pretty substantial early lead for the side of Syracuse.
Yeah, with that though, like that is definitely a tough matchup for Olimar going into it. So getting a stock off, and that's the important thing, right? In the first matchup, someone's always going to win. Obviously, someone's going to set the precedence, but the question always is by how much. And getting any stocks off is really important in these battles, especially just giving the advantage to your team going forward. Now, Boise State both has the knowledge they need to, you know, pick the best character to go against them, but they also have the stock advantage, which will allow them to have a much more comfortable lead going forward if they can take it.
That is true. I mean, all you really have to do is get 2 stocks before losing your own, and it doesn't matter if you go up to 999%, that'll all get wiped away to 0 as long as you don't go down.
If someone got to 999, you could sneeze and nowhere near them, and they would just fly off the stage at that point.
I mean, I don't know. We've seen weird things happen. We saw a Mii Brawler come out. We've seen the oddities that this game can provide.
Even if you were trying to get someone to 999, it would be almost. I think it'd be. I don't want to say impossible. I just can't see how you would do it without accidentally knocking someone off the stage.
You'd have to use like that Greninja down taunt where he does like the 2 fountains and it does like 2% at each time.
Yeah, just something so inconsequential that it doesn't actually knock someone out. Food for thought. I mean, you do see the 999% in sudden death where it's the first hit to land in, just more casual modes and not really anything that we watch between the two teams. But, who knows? Maybe someone's attempted it, and if they have, it's probably online somewhere.
Yeah,
easily.
YouTube is a pretty magical place. I mean, there's just about everything there.
Yeah. Easily researchable in the future.
So from the looks of things, it seems like Leodog is in on the DDD.
That's not Leodog.
No, I was just looking at the scores, or
right?
Not the score, just the players there.
Oh, I was going to say.
They subbed in Gokis and Leodog, and Dr. Delulu. Or no, Dr. Delulu was there originally. But
are they just changing his name every time?
I mean, I might be going crazy.
Because Palutena is Doc, the doctor, but he went from Dr. Doom to Delulu. So I guess we'll have to see.
Maybe we are under a little bit of Delulu right now.
I guess we'll find out, and we'll have to see with the conclusion of this match if we're going crazy or not here. 10-5, already jumping into it with Min trying to keep up the barrage, not wanting to let Palutena get a moment to breathe here, and so far it is working. Boise State starting to gain a little bit of momentum, but not enough, as they have to try and be careful on this ledge here, using the platforms to their advantage. Min is able to hit through them, so they can't stay for long, but starting to gain towards that middle ground. They'll have to plan their next moves carefully if they want to be able to kind of slow down the pretty standard Min gameplay.
Yeah, both of these characters are really good at controlling their spot on the map. Either right next to you with the case of Palutena and a lot of her aerials, or that general direction like Min. But the thing is about Min's attacks is they all leave her fairly open. So one little mistake, just like that one, is going to leave you in a really dangerous situation. Min already jumping up to 70. Not quite as near as Boise's 111, but it is a lot more than what they started out with. That's 60% in less than 60 seconds. So that'll be a hard hill to climb for Min to get out of the hole. And all Palutena has to do is win this game. That will put them at a way better spot than what they were in the beginning.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Once again, interactions going back and forth. Min just moving forward, throwing their arms out, not giving room for Palutena to breathe as they are now off ledge, having to guess their ledge recovery, not wanting to get hit by the boomerang arm. They are able to avoid it, get back on stage, but do they have the room to get an attack off? Doesn't look like it yet as Min gets the grab, launching Boise State to the other ledge here.
Yeah, that grab was definitely one of the things that they needed to see. Min's grab is deceptively long, too. It's not quite as long as her primary, but it is at least half that, if not more. Both players not yet finding a stock, and I say that, there we go. Min finds her first. Palutena down to 2, Min at 94. They just need to find the 2 stocks here if they want to keep themselves at less of a stock disadvantage. Yeah, less of a stock disadvantage, because if they got these 2 while not losing the last one, they'd be at 1.
Yeah, and with that, though, Palutena tightening up the gameplay is able to knock out Min, going up to 140% before knocking them off the side. Boise State still with the stock advantage. All that needs to be done is knock out this last stock, and Boise State will gain the advantage. Can they do it before losing this next stock, however?
Yeah, they just got to prevent Min from really getting into the flow of things, getting on her side and just throwing out a flurry of punches like we just saw there. Palutena just unable to find a spot on the ground to work with, but now going in for a lot of damage here, 29% and counting. Min is able to escape, though, off the ledge, but now Palutena's starting to get her projectiles up, getting those in action, but nothing quite comes out of it right now at the moment. Min throwing out a lot of punches, not very many of them hitting. There goes the fireball from Palutena, preventing a advance from Min. Same with the magic missiles, and now they're just trying to get close and personal, getting those attacks in, but Palutena is going to fall one more stock. It is now even in this round.
Oh, but Palutena does knock Min off the ledge. Now time for the ledge deny. Min goes in for the shield, avoiding the attack and dodging, putting Palutena on the side of the ledge. Now moving towards the middle, Min is able to gain some control here. absolutely not what Boise State wants, and they're going to try and stop that as much as possible here. Min back on ledge, able to dodge roll away from the Palutena. However, being launched into the air, Boise State is now looking for that knockout range. It is so close. The potential is there. Not running into the fireball. Min is able to hold on here at 123%. It could be the last attack they ever see if they're not careful, and they know that.
Yeah, this is not a very great spot to be in as the Min, but even if you do go down, you still know that you are in a advantage here, a 2-stock advantage at that. But taking out Palutena is definitely on your list of things that you want to try and accomplish.
Oh.
But at 163, it's going to be a little difficult. And there we go. Palutena with the up air is able to secure or keep the 2-stock lead Syracuse has from expanding anymore.
Yeah, and now the question will be for Boise State is how do they use this last stock for Palutena? How many stocks can they get out of it, and what team? I mean, it really depends on who they go up against. But with that, it really is a bet of how many stocks can they take out before they get knocked out here.
Yeah, as long as if you can take out even one, that is still keeping you in a really good spot. You're not quite even, but you're still in a good spot to come back from things. But in all honesty, I think what they're going to try and do on the side of Syracuse is pressure out that Palutena with just so much melee pressure that they just have no room to work with. I don't think we're going to see the Mii Brawler quite yet. I think that's the anchor character. That's the character they fall back on if things are starting to go rough. But I think we might just see Luigi again, or maybe even Yoshi. We never know.
Maybe. I also, honestly, wouldn't be shocked.
Quick. Just swap to Steve.
No.
We're going to see some Minecraft gameplay. The 2-week Minecraft phase has begun.
All right. It's Steve time, I guess.
Hey, maybe it's not Steve. Maybe it's Enderman. Or Zombie. Or maybe even, hear me out, this is crazy, but Alex. It might be. You never know.
Yeah.
I say it like it matters if they're just skin combos.
So we will now be watching a different game.
Okay.
As anyone knows, is when Steve enters the field. We're not watching Super Smash Bros. Anymore. We're watching a mining simulator.
No, we're just watching Minecraft.
Yeah. Basically, the one thing, Steve is a big meme ever since he's released. The one thing I do find really funny is that compared to all the other characters and how he's animated, he looks so goofy because he stays true to the Minecraft animation, which means he's completely straight-armed, straight-legged, as he's just walking forward, just attacking
he's got
people.
6 axes of movement, both of his legs, both of his arms, and his head. It must have been really great to be an animator the day Steve came out. Because
I know. Did they even need to animate him, or was it more of a, here you go?
I mean, have you seen his knockdown animation? He just falls flat on the floor and then levitates back up
silly.
straight. But it's so true to Minecraft.
I know, right? And that's, if anything, that's kind of where I was getting at with that is he's kind of uncanny in Smash Bros. Every other character functions how you would expect. Even the characters that are more retro game based, they still kind of function how you would expect.
It's not Steve, it's Zombie.
But when Steve comes out, he just kind of looks uncanny, and that's just, nature of Minecraft animations, but looks like we're going to be seeing
Super Smash.
Steve versus Palutena. Boise State going to need to go down to 1 stock to fight what is, I think, one of the biggest menaces in Super Smash Bros.
This will truly be the battle of stage control. You let Steve do what he wants, get his ores and resources all the way up.
There's the anvil, and already
damage
onto the ledge.
At 41, and this
gets the parry.
Has just begun.
Tries to go for the anvil again, but does not hit, nor with the Magna Block. Boise State is wise to that, does not want to get hit by anything here that Steve wants to. Going to go for the mining once again, finds himself some iron, able to create some minecarts off of that, and is able to go in for the crafting here. Once again, name of the game for Steve will always be zoning, trying to go for a couple of grabs, but Palutena is not having any of it. The minecart goes through, but is able to dodge the follow-up attack. Steve trying to build some walls, but Palutena is denying that so far, able to keep the damage in their favor. All they have to do is just knock out a couple of stocks, maybe all of them, throw him off to the side. Ledge is here. Now Electra is going to make it hard to knock him out, but anything you can do to get him away from the ground and mining is a good thing.
Yeah, Steve manages to get a piece of gold. It's not going to do a ton because it does break easy, but it is going to give him a diamond to work with. That's going to be a pretty good power boost for our man in green. But at 123%, it is all at risk of being taken away at the slightest mistake.
Oh, and this could be it.
Launched. Anvil does come out. Nothing comes out of it. But with the ability to just shoot off to the side of the stage, that's going to take the first stock from Steve. Palutena keeping Syracuse at only a 2 lead and potentially expanding it. Already getting 2 combos off before Steve manages to even land 1.
96-38. Palutena holding strong, keeping the damage up. Steve has been chipping away, but it hasn't been enough so far. Goes for the minecart, is able to launch Palutena away and get a little bit more mining done, but isn't able to find any combos they really want here. Now looking for another opportunity. Steve tries to go, gets the grab off. This could be a dangerous position, but instead of going in for a combo, Steve is going to take the time to mine, planning for further interactions in the future, creating a more favorable position. We see once again trying to go for those magma blocks, really not going where they want them to be. As Boise State dodges the anvil and the magma, they are looking for another knockout potential here, but the minecart is going to deny any thoughts at that ledge deny.
Yeah, the planning for the future as Steve is definitely something that you want to do, but with a character as floaty as Palutena, it's really hard to get him thrown off the stage and then counter with the magma blocks. It's just super easy to dodge if they're as high enough as they need to be and at such high percent. But Steve, already at 115 and no crafting table, but it doesn't matter. The parry comes out. Steve manages to keep the lead for Syracuse at 2, but isn't quite able to expand it like they most likely would have wanted to.
Yeah, and with that, that is a good spot for Boise State. I mean, Steve can be a rough player to face, but being able to knock him out, at least knock him down to 2 stocks, is, as we've talked about many times, a favorable spot. We'll have to see how they choose to counter it. I mean, the main thing is that Steve doesn't have a lot of easy counters because he can just build up so many walls, and so a lot of the melee characters instantly just struggle a bit more against any of that gameplay. But there is some options for the team as they're going to bring out the Richter once again, who really, if I had to take any bets on a character that could deal with Steve fairly well, Richter would be one of them.
Yeah, I mean, he was the zoning character before all the DLCs came out, and zoning kind of got changed.
Was just
forever.
The name of the game.
Yeah, it just became the name of the game. But at the same time, you have the holy water, which creates fire. It's pretty easy to predict where it's going to go. You have your axes, which get thrown in a pretty arcal pattern, and it makes it really easy to camp out different spots. And then, of course, you have the cross, which, unlike Link's boomerang, it can't be knocked out of the air, which means it's a little bit more predictable, but at the same time, you're still going to get hit by it even if you shoot at it.
Something that, a lot of, there's those moments, right, where people are like, oh, if you can see it, you can dodge it, right? There's the whole thing of characters that can see the future. It's oh, that character is a god because now you can't do anything. They'll avoid everything. Just because you see it doesn't mean you can dodge it, right? Just because you know it's coming doesn't mean that your face isn't any less likely to be hit if you can't avoid it. And that's I think the beauty of some of those abilities is that you underestimate them. You think, oh, just because I can see it means that I'll be totally fine. And then we've seen actually in the previous matchup how timing those cross attacks right can be very effective. So we'll have to see, will that be what ends up being Boise State's boon, helping them regain some of the ground that has been lost, or if Steve is going to continue to dig that hole deeper for them.
Oh! Early minecart out of Steve onto Richter. No damage is found. First hit does end up going to Richter. The minecart comes out once again. It is able to get a few hits off of it, but nothing really notable. Honestly, both these players are right next to each other in terms of damage, and Steve has not been able to do all the mining that he was able to against Palutena in the last round.
Exactly what Boise State wants here. He's going to build up a wall and try and get some room, but is going to be denied fairly quickly. Cross goes out, and the fire combo allows for some more powerful damage here for Boise State, keeping Steve off the side. Early knockout for Boise State. Now down to 1 stock. Steve does not have enough to work with here. this could be very dangerous if they can get that combo off once again.
Yeah, they can do that one more time. That's going to set the stage as even and a repeat of the last round. Richter coming out to even the score once again. Zombie almost at 73, matching Richter, passes it even, and there we go. Zombie off the stage, but with the Elytra is able to get back on. I remember the meme when Steve first came out was that his recovery was not too great, but at the same time, we've seen that disproven time and time again.
You just have to know how to control it, and that does seem to be the name of the game for Syracuse here, but will it be enough? 123% Richter holding strong to the ledge, tries to go for the punish, but isn't able to. Steve going to knock him over to the side, give him a taste of his own medicine, but not for long. Going to Craft instead, getting denied his minecart though. Might have wanted to press the advantage when he had it. If he can't keep Richter down, it could be the knockout that he might be fated to see here.
Although with no materials to work with, Steve can only place blocks right now. He has not very many good tools at his disposal. Gets knocked off one more time, and this might be the end of Steve. Manages to find his way back to the stage, but without anything to work with except for a bit of wood, he gets knocked out. Boise State, with some help from Richter, brings this thing back to 6-6.
Very honestly, just back-to-back tight games here from all of the players, Boise State and Syracuse together. With that, Boise State taking what could have been like a very dangerous lead, and were rough spots for them to be in the previous season, and making a lot more out of it now. With some of the scarier characters like Min Min out of the way, now they have to deal with that Luigi, who was very dangerous previously, but against a character like Richter or DDD might not be as scary as they were. And so Boise State, I think, is in a very strong position here.
I mean, we saw how spooky it was against the DDD. Getting those 100% up specials were definitely nothing to sneeze at. I think 2 stocks were taken off of Leia Dog by Sarvi on the Luigi. And it just goes to show how good of a strategy it is to get your opponent super low, get that up special online, and then just wipe them out. But at the same time, you can't really do that against Richter because he can just keep you at an arm's length the entire time, or I guess I should say a whip's length. But it makes it so much harder to land those up close and personal combos.
Yeah, and I mean, we might have to see how that goes here. I mean, there is the thing that Luigi is able to get past those melee characters. I mean, DDD is a primarily, like, he has this hammer, he has the Gordos, he does like to zone you out, but he does do a lot of melee, and yet Luigi can move in and kind of wreck house if he chooses to. And we'll have to see, I mean, similar idea with Me Brawler. If you have the stronger hits and you're able to dodge through those attacks, it's very possible that you can get those, like, just the combos in to knock someone out. However, it looks like they might be taking a different approach, as, you know, every time we start talking about a character, inevitably they get changed. And instead of Richter versus Luigi or Me Brawler, it looks like it's going to be Richter versus Donkey Kong. So the Donkey Kong we were expecting to see in the previous match might be showing up here, which, you know, if anything, I'm excited to see Donkey Kong.
It's the big monkey, the big funny monkey. He's kind of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, I agree. He has a lot of fun abilities, and, you know, I mean, he does have that one ability where, as I've talked about before, he will hit you into the ground, and then you get to question your life choices as he charges up a strong attack. But with that, we'll have to see, can Richter avoid it, or will he be succumb to the monkey madness that we might see unfold here tonight? Donkey Kong versus Richter. Boise State looking to maybe either team here can define the potential last character for the other team. So this is a very important matchup for who's going to gain the advantage in the final route here. And as we see already flying in, smaller stage than we've been seeing previously, which means less room for Richter to work with, but also less room for Donkey Kong here as they go straight to the off-ledge battle. Both of them trying to go for the punish, not able to get a lot through it here. This might be a, like, aerial battle, which would be interesting for both of these characters here, but so far Boise State gaining the advantage with the fire. Donkey Kong able to knock away the cross, but not the holy fire here.
Yeah, this is a bad spot to be in if you're both of these characters. Richter doesn't have the space to work with, but Donkey Kong, I'd say, is in a little bit worse a position. This stage is mostly edge, and what is Richter if not a good edge guard? And DK is learning that the hard way. There we go. Forward air to take the first stock. Richter is only up to 70.
Yeah, holding strong with his damage percentage. I mean, DK could knock him on his back if he's not careful, but so far he's not letting it happen. DK trying to get up close and personal. Richter holding back with the cross and the whip here, launching him into the air and keeping that space, really just only moving up when he wants to. DK looking for that ledge guard and potential punish. Richter is going to deny him, however. Boise State going a little bit up in damage. Potentially dangerous position if Donkey Kong could get a grab off, but so far, not able to find that opportunity.
Yeah, nothing quite able to come of it, though. Richter's also kind of struggling to get the edge guards going, but there we go! Taking out Donkey Kong pre-100%.
Oh!
But it looks like Donkey Kong's going to try and get his licks in, takes him off the stage, and is able to find one of his own.
I mean, this is what I was talking about. He just needs that grab to be able to take down the stock, and he gets it, knocking him out and making it not a perfect match for Richter here. 2-1 now, though. Richter not looking to go down and just lose that stock for nothing, as already putting more damage onto DK.
You know, I was almost expecting the SD out of DK there. I mean, it wouldn't have been super smart, but it looked like it for just a second there. Big damage out of Richter, taking up DK into the air. Forward air goes through, and there we go! Off the stage, Richter with 2 stocks remaining manages to nearly close this one out. Syracuse with only 1 player left to salvage this run.
Which may or may not be me, Brawler.
Which may or may not be me, bro. No, it may be me, Sword Fighter, this time. Or me, Gunner.
Me, Gunner.
Yeah,
I just want to see the me Gunner so then we can see like the sand skin. There we go. We were thinking the same thing. You knew exactly. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to see a me,
it's got to be me Gunner with Sands.
It's just the funniest option.
It's the guy who honestly should have been put in one of the bonus packs for Super Smash Bros.
Okay, but I mean, it's not like Toby Fox doesn't like talk to them. He did make the song, like the Battle Tower song for Sword and Shield, and you know, there's a Super Smash Bros. Remix for Megalovania along with Sans, which the Megalovania remix for Super Smash Bros. Is really like, it's good and it's funny to me because it's like just such a more like, it's already an intense fight, but it almost like makes it just more hype in a lighthearted way, which is so silly for Sans.
I mean, it fits his character though. Very lighthearted and silly, but I will preface this by saying,
okay, on the run where you fight him, though, not so much.
So I actually have never finished a Undertale game.
That's right. We talked about this one time.
I've started a few. I've played through Deltarune. I have never finished Undertale.
I need to...
But I've seen, like, I don't really want to play it, though, because I've already seen, like, all the
there's
endings.
so much, right? Like, it's really hard to play it, but... Me Brawler will not be the final character for Syracuse, as funny as that would have been. It's going to be Yoshi going up against Richter. Now, this is going to be the big determiner here. Yoshi is the anchor for Syracuse. If they manage to pull this off, they can continue forward, potentially taking the win for Syracuse. But if they can't, Boise State will win this outright right here, right now, without even having to bring out Leodog.
And from the looks of things, Yoshi has taken a lot of damage here, manages to see the cross and is able to dodge in time, but both players are at around the same percentage-wise. Richter unable to find the up special to get Yoshi down, but he's just hitting like a truck, and after just a little bit, both players are already barely under 100% here. Holy Fire does come out trying to keep the Yoshi away, but the dinosaur stops for no one, and he is on a rampage trying to get to Richter.
Yeah, using the platforms to his advantage. Dodging the shield, gets hit by his own fire here. Tries to go for that combo setup, but Yoshi holding strong. Probably a pretty, like, honestly, I would say a really solid character to go up against Richter with the both powerful melee attacks that we're seeing and the range, but Richter kind of sniping him from out of the screen that we could see. Able to prevent any knockouts there. Yeah, but Yoshi is going to get his aerial attack off and get the knockout for Richter. Now 1-3. Richter might not be able to take this, but he could even it out for the final player of Boise State. Or maybe he could take this outright. You know, 1-3, not impossible. Very tough here, though, as Yoshi does not look like he wants to give that to him.
It is not something we haven't seen before. But at the same time, taking this guy down, at least one stock is going to do wonders for the next person on Boise State's team. It's also going to do a lot for the mental of the Syracuse player, both in good and bad. In good, you took out somebody who was who had 2 stocks, evening stuff out just a little bit. But at the same time, you've already been playing for so long that you might be a little bit slow to react when it comes to certain things. But at the same time, Richter's also kind of struggling to close this one out.
At the same time, you know, as we've been saying, or at least it's been said many times, we'll have to see where it goes. Yoshi has not taken a ton of damage, or at least not enough to fully put the nail in the coffin here. Richter wants that, is looking for that opportunity, throwing the axes out and the fire, but doesn't go through until now, bringing Yoshi down to 2 stocks. At 79, this will be an uphill battle for Richter if he wants to close it out here, but we'll have to see where it goes.
Yeah, Richter unable to find anything off of the Yoshi respawn, just dealing a lot, trying to deal a little bit of damage, but everything's getting blocked by the egg projectile. You know, until I started watching professional Super Smash Bros. When I was just playing as Yoshi, I always thought that the egg throw wasn't very good. But now it has been made clear that that is a very versatile projectile to use, but right into the corner, taking Richter down, and Yoshi only losing 1 stock in the process.
Yeah, with that, Boise State is not going to get the knockout win they would want to be able to close out this best of 3 without having to bring out their final player. So it looks like it's going to be all down to this, whether Syracuse can continue forward or if Boise State closes this out. King Dedede versus Yoshi, Leodog at 3 stocks, and BR Bean at 2.
Be right, Bean. That's kind of a funny name. But at the same time, it's the battle of the munchies when you think about it. Yoshi likes to eat, King Dedede likes to eat, and it's just going to be...
I mean, wouldn't the battle of the munchies be Kirby versus Dedede?
Well, I mean, this is like the lower munchie. I mean, in the lore, Dedede did, like, eat a lot of stuff, so that way he'd be able to compete with Kirby. But I mean, Kirby is like the uncontested king of eating contests. I don't think there is a single character in fiction that could out-eat Kirby. He's eaten planets.
That is true. He has eaten planets. I'm thinking.
I mean, maybe Galactus.
That
Galactus
I was
would
going
be
to
a
say,
strong contender.
if we go into like comics territory, there is Galactus. There are other like planet-eating creatures out there.
Yeah, but like I'm
just
counting
kinda...
like single creatures though. Like I'm not counting like the Flood from Halo.
Well,
because
yeah,
like they
that's
eat
different.
planets, but that's like a trillion organisms.
Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, or good old Tyranids.
Yeah, good old Tyranids.
Sucking up
from
all the
Warhammer.
bioforms. Warhammer 40K.
Drinking the seas. R.I.P. Tyran.
As we get ready to go into this matchup, we will see Yoshi have to bring themselves down to 2 stocks here. And now, getting into the matchup proper, this could be it for Boise State. They could bring it out here. All they have to do is knock out 2 stocks for Yoshi, and Yoshi needs to defeat this Dedede if they want Syracuse to continue in this lineup. As we can see already, Leodog holding the advantage in the middle, though Yoshi is ready to dish out some damage as well. Looking for an opportunity, the Gordo goes out, getting some zoning onto Yoshi, denying them just a lot of the movement that they want. Goes for the ledge guard, is able to call it, launching Yoshi to the other side, already at 128%. Yoshi is not looking good, but is holding strong against Dedede here.
Yeah, he's trying to keep that percent gap a little, or he's trying to narrow the percent gap here, and he's done a pretty good job at it. But the thing is about Dedede is that he deals quite a bit more damage than Yoshi does, especially with just the eggs, and when getting hit by a Gordo and a hammer at the same time, that's going to be a lot more damage to contend with. Yoshi now at 180, and that's going to be enough. Forward air goes through, and Yoshi has to pretty much has to win this with only 1 stock. That's not a spot you want to be in, but now he's doing a lot of damage.
Oh, there it is.
Narrows it down to a 2-1.
2-1, Leodog with the advantage here of the 2 stocks. Going to be a battle of stamina, and Leodog has plenty of that in the backline with the additional stock that Yoshi does not have, and using it to full advantage, really just denying any space for Yoshi on this ledge here. With the Gordo going out, it is going to miss, but Yoshi is not able to gain the control he wants. Over 100%, gets the egg off onto DDD, but isn't able to combo it or gain any punishes off of it. Now with Leodog in just a very comfortable position with percentages and looking for that potential ledge punish, Yoshi has to be careful here. These last couple interactions could really be the determiner, and they know it, trying to be as careful as possible, not letting DDD get too close, but the Gordos go out and they're back on ledge. Leodog looking for the opportunity here. Doesn't need to get too close, does not want to take too much damage. As we're stuck in the hold point.
Oh, you gotta love reliable Nintendo Switch network, especially when it comes to Super Smash Bros.
I think Nintendo might be trying to help out Syracuse there. They were like what looked in the potential knockout zone, but we'll have to see as we get to kind of roll it back there.
This might be a Kansas City Chiefs situation, but instead of paying off the refs, they're paying off Nintendo servers.
Do you have to pay off Nintendo servers, or do they just kind of feel like it sometimes?
I mean, you never know. You can slide them a crisp 20 and say, hey, we need you to shut down right now.
We'll have to see, though, as it does look like we'll be running it back on that. Yoshi getting a potential another opportunity, I believe, to try and take this.
I mean, we are already halfway through the match. I wouldn't be surprised if they did end up taking it down to 2-1. And while it would still technically be the same gap, it's one stock less, and that can be the
you don't get your mistake stock, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't get that stock. I mean, it is one stock, like the one stock difference, but at the same time, you know, Leodog gets to sit there and make a mistake and lose a stock. You make a mistake and lose your stock, you're done.
That is true. You know, I was almost expecting Leodog to go for the infamous King DDD SD. The gulp 'em and jump off.
I mean, it's a risky move.
But, I mean, Yoshi, he has a really good recovery in his double jump. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And then the egg does give him a little bit of height to match.
That's something you do when you can guarantee it and it's going to work for you. It's not something you just want to do, like...
Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly, yeah. Hail Mary it. Like, it doesn't always end well. As funny as it can be.
Yeah. But think about it. It would be funny.
It could be funny.
It would be funny.
But do you want funny when you're potentially going to be able to take this with the matchup?
You got another round.
Well,
it's a best of 3 after all.
Yeah, but do you want to, or do you want to be able to, like, let me just clean this up so we don't have to play another round, don't have to leave it up to fate? Like, when you could maybe bring it all down to this, if Yoshi isn't able to take it from you, do you really want to do that?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, imagine how cool it would be if it worked. I think that's enough. That's enough reassurance to do it.
Well, you can continue to manifest that over there. See if that works out as we're getting ready to go back into the matchups here. Just going to get, back in order, bring the rooms back up, the lineups. Good break, maybe a good or bad break potentially for the teams, depending on how you look at it. We'll have to see if this maybe shifts anything for Syracuse or if Boise State is going to be able to use this time to kind of lock it down even further.
Yeah, especially with how much DDD was locking down Yoshi. Sure, Yoshi had his stints. He was going really well in a few areas. But the thing is, DDD, he'd land 6 or 7 hits and bang, you're already almost at 100%. That's a really hard spot to be in no matter what character you are. And Yoshi being more towards the middle of the weight scale, he suffers from it a lot more than, say, another heavy would, like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, though Yoshi can deal a lot of damage too. I mean, in previous matchups, Leodog against Yoshi's, DDD hasn't always been able to handle it very well just because it's so easy for that to pile up and kind of watch the ball roll until the snowball becomes so big that it just knocks you off the ledge. Because although, yeah, Leodog and DDD, like, that deals a lot of damage, so does Yoshi. Yoshi just hurts.
Yeah, Yoshi
if he kicks you in the face and then slaps you with his tail, you can go to 80 so quickly and then be knocked out. It's kind of wild. Sometimes you don't even get to process it by the time it happens.
I'm kind of surprised Yoshi isn't a heavy character in and of himself. I guess he does kind of have to do his little flutter jump thing.
Right.
But, I mean, he should...
Gotta pay homage to the game series, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, he's a dinosaur. He's a T-Rex. And T-Rexes are huge. I mean... Allegedly. We don't quite know how big
Yoshi isn't that big for a dinosaur, though. I mean, he's, like, essentially
he's the size
to scale.
Of a horse.
Kind of. I mean, when you put him next to Mario, yeah, but like when you put him next to Mario, he's not that much taller or wider overall. If we're talking like size of a horse, are we talking like volume or like?
He's built like a horse. Like
I don't know.
I mean, he has two
horse
less
is
legs,
a lot wider than like Yoshi is.
Actually, Yoshi has arms. Would you count those? I mean, they're limbs.
They're arms.
He's got the same amount of limbs as a horse.
But he doesn't use those arms for, any, like, walking around. They're kind of T-Rex arms. They don't really do a lot for him. I mean, he is a T-Rex, right? Or, like, the equivalent?
I mean, he's like, I remember hearing somewhere that he's like Yoshi-saur or something.
Right. It's like a specific...
Yoshi-saur.
It's a specific thing for the game, but it's very T-Rex. Like, okay, no, his arms are bigger than I remembered.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Well,
I think they're bigger in the Smash Bros. Games.
Looks like we are going to be rolling it back to where we were, 2-1. Boise State just needs to knock out one stock. Syracuse needs to knock out two. This could be it, as we've built too many times here. The first interactions will really set a precedence here on who's going to gain the momentum, and so far we see both players trying to be careful. Yoshi gains the first hit and racks up the damage onto DDD, getting the swallow off as well. DDD looking for their footing, but Syracuse is denying it, bringing Leodog all the way up to 84% before even managing to get any damage on themselves. However, that looks like it might be about to change.
Yeah, especially because DDD is starting to get a little bit more damage piled up, but then Yoshi just goes on the offensive, gets a lot of damage in. DDD hasn't been able to quite get as close as they would have liked and get that combo that's needed, but the up special comes out. The Gordo comes out of thin air. And with the save, too. What a Gordo.
Yeah, good read with the Gordo, able to keep Leodog in the fight with the second stock as much as possible here. He's really going to want to look for those knockout potentials here, not wanting to lose that stock and leave it up to any stray attacks. And with that, Yoshi launched into the air. Leodog getting the hammer combo he wants. Boise State able to bring this, their second point. For this best of three, they'll be able to take it with this.
Yeah, what a play out of DDD. He was really struggling there for a little bit, but started to pull it back towards the end. I mean, all you really need from DDD is 3 or 4 good hits, and then that's a good stock off your opponent.
I mean, we saw one of the classic combos that Leodog uses with DDD, which is launch them into the air once they're high enough damage percentage, get the spinning hammer attack off, and you'll be able to knock it out. But Boise State able to get their 2-0 win for this week against Syracuse in the Power Esports Conference.
I don't know why, but every time I watch Leodog play, I think of the scene from The Princess Bride. Ha, you fool, you fell for one of the classic blunders.
I mean, that is kind of how Gordo plays feel like. Compared to other ranged abilities, they're a lot more nuanced in how you control them. So when you are able to set them up the way you want, my personal favorite being when you can stick it to the ledge and now no one can grab it and they just get to fall to their doom. But with that, they are able to take the win, continuing forward, once again, setting a really good precedence for the season with the way that they were able to line up and a very strong presence for the conference going forward.
Yeah, this also brings them to a 2-1 record, which is definitely nothing to scoff at. With only one loss on the board, that leaves them in a pretty good spot. I mean, they can lose one more game. That still puts them at a 2-2. But honestly, with this team being as strong as it is, I mentioned earlier about how adaptability was really good. But I think we're starting to see that out of the new players in this team and some of the old ones being practiced on it.
Yeah, with that is going to be Boise State's plays for tonight, though they were able to play off really well, setting a great precedence for the season going forward, and we're excited to continue to see where they go. So that'll be it for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to continue to tune in as we see how the Smash Bros. Team continues their season next week.
Here, DDD is at a little bit more dangerous of a situation. He is at 140, but as a heavy, he can stand to take a little bit of punishment, but not the up B from Luigi. That's an insta-kill past 100%, but with the down spike, it's not even going to matter. He gets stuck, but he's going to, he gets the
characters and just the projectiles begins once more.
Just with Olimar, especially in a matchup like this where your Pikmin are constantly dying, that just means so many projectiles getting thrown out on the screen.
Double
Already
purple?
at the double purple. We might see a triple purple here.
Oh, good
Big
damage there.
Out of the aerial, and Min Min's not able to
Yeah, this is not a very great spot to be in as the Min, but even if you do go down, you still know that you are in a advantage here, a 2-stock advantage at that. But taking out Palutena is definitely on your list of things that you want to try and accomplish.
Oh.
But at 163, it's going to be
There
a little
it
difficult.
is.
And there we go.
Using shield to avoid, but the grab is going to go through, and Brawler tries to go for a combo, but misses most of it, and Richter is able to get some damage off. However, as we were talking about earlier, powerful kick there is not going to be easy to deal with, but those combos are not easy for Syracuse either here. Getting caught in the ledge. Donkey Kong able to knock away the cross, but not the Holy Fire here.
Yeah, this is a bad spot to be in if you're both of these characters. Richter doesn't have a space to work with, but Donkey Kong, I'd say, is in a little bit worse a position. This stage is mostly edge, and what is Richter if not a good edge guard? And DK is
Oh, we
finding
see
that
it
the hard
right
way.
there.